Ah yes, Nissan and Infiniti, a brand that I have a very strong love-hate relationship with. I owned a lot of them. I had a 2002 Nissan Sentra Spec V that I turboed. I had a 3.5 SE Altima before they went CVT, had some Nismo bits on it. I had a 90s Maxima as a daily driver for a while, and I also had an S13 for a little bit. Didn't do too much to it though. Now, all these cars are cool, but this is also the same brand that's brought you the Murano Cross Cabriolet and other masterpieces such as the Nissan Rogue with their beautiful CVT transmissions. And also, they've just developed a reputation for being takeover cars that are just ragged on, and the Altima has become the ultimate joke of a car on the road, and we all know that. But through all this, it's really hard not to give them credit for the 350Z and the G35. Now, these are awesome cars, and I actually owned a 2004 Laser Red G35, so I have a really big soft spot for it. It was my second manual car. I had it supercharged. It was a blast, and honestly, it's the car that got me into tracking my car. I autocrossed it a lot, took it to some high-performance racing events, and moved across states and just enjoyed it thoroughly. The G35 scene in the 2000s and 2010s in the Dallas-Fort Worth area was really big. Among that group was Daniel. Daniel took his G35 in the mid-2010s, he actually went ahead and did an LS2 swap. So today we're going to talk to him, we're going to talk to him about what he's done, how much it's cost, all sorts of different things, and then we're going to take this beast for a ride because it is an awesome, awesome car. So let's go check this out.
All right, Daniel, thanks for letting me come and test drive this beautiful piece of machinery that otherwise is usually pretty made fun of on the internet at this point, sadly. But you've had this for a while. So you bought this before they turned into takeover cars. But just give me some history. Like, when did you get it? Yep. Why did you get it? What did it replace? Things like that.
Sure. So it's a 2003. It was factory with the Brimbos, the front lip, the spoiler, manual transmission. I'm the third owner. I picked it up with about 40,000 miles on it.
How much does the body have on it now?
Now it's got about 168,000. So it's not horrible.
Okay.
I'd say since the swap, maybe 15,000 miles.
Okay. So this thing, well, first of all, what does it have in it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
It's funny. The covers are a little deceiving. So it's an LQ9. It's actually out of a 2006 GTO. It is an LS2, but it's an LQ9 for the engine cut. So it's a 6.0 iron block, T56 transmission, also out of a GTO.
So was a donor car the one that gave the transmission and the motor?
Yep, just straight up.
It wasn't like from different cars?
No, bought the GTO. Yeah.
So what triggered you wanting to do a swap? Was it something that happened to the engine?
G35, G35. Yeah. The VQ did what VQs do. I was giving her the beans, if you will, and pretty, cocked to the left there and spun a bearing, and that was it. So, a 12-pack later with the boys, and it was like, let's swap it. Heck yeah, we did it in 2013.
I think a lot of people are wondering.
Yeah.
First of all, the logistics behind doing it, why you decided on this motor, which sounds like it was a circumstantial thing.
When this happened, there weren't a lot of companies doing swap parts. So Sickie was essentially kind of like the forefront of it. And then you had Fueled Racing. So all of the motor mounts, the transmission mounts, the few pieces that were made to kind of speed up the swap were only made by a couple of companies. Those parts were made for that specific swap, the LS2, the LQ9. So that kind of, I guess, pushed me in that direction. But once I started kind of doing the research and seeing the numbers they could put up, it just seemed, I was like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah. The shifter, that's kind of a funny thing. So it is the T56 out of the GTO. Now they make all of these plates where you can keep the original Nissan, the Infiniti transmission. Everything bolts up real nicely. I'm not saying it's easier now, but we were jumping hurdles back then.
Yeah.
And so Sickie came out with a shift kit that had linkage. So the actual shifter is here, where it goes into the transmission is here. So there's a series of bars that kind of move as you're shifting. Well, there's bushings in there, and the original bushings were made out of brass.
Yeah.
If you drive Spirited in any form or fashion, this brass, you start kind of shaving down the brass. So there were lots of emails and phone calls working with Sickie to try to dial in a different material
You'll see us struggle with. Well, you'll see
say
me
struggle. Yeah,
You'll see me struggle a little bit with the shifter because I was trying to.
I was gonna say
nail down the
you say struggle. I think it's almost like it's a nanny, if you will. It's a good thing because trying to slam from first to second in that the traction is not really there.
Yeah, yeah,
It's funny they're actually kind of big now, but Bailey's High Performance.
yeah. He's the one who turboed my Sentra Spec V.
Okay, so he did the wiring and the fuel for this.
Wow.
So he finished up what we couldn't figure out, right?
Okay, so let's take a step back on that.
Yeah.
But who started the swap? Is it like at home?
Yeah, at Jacob. You know Jacob.
At Jake's.
Yes, yeah.
He was involved too?
Jake started
Okay.
it, yeah. That's where my first set of wheels got stolen. That's how we ended
From
up
his
with the
house
Barstones. Yeah. It was it was in the backyard, in the back where you keep all stuff, but it was up on jack stands. Came back the next day, wheels gone. I was like,
my favorite memory of his backyard is we went autocrossing out in Mineral Wells.
Yeah.
And my transmission linkage or something broke.
Yeah.
Got to get the car towed back. We were pulling into it because I was going to take it to his house so he could fix it.
Yeah.
So the G35
So you're in
would
the
go up his driveway.
trying to get
Yeah.
it.
So we took his Titan and we wanted to shove the G35 into his driveway. We grabbed a tire. We put it between the Titan and the G35 and we shoved it up. I have a picture of it.
Are you recording this?
Yes. But yeah, so going back to that, he started it at Jake's. So you guys got the kit and everything delivered to Jake's house.
It was one of those really cool feelings. And I think everybody in the beginning of doing an LS swap has that moment where you're like, this is going to be nuts. Like the emotion that you have, you're so excited about it. And then you see the dollars and you're like, everybody said it was going to cost more than this. And you're just clicking. You're like, parts. You're like, oh, see, it's not that much. It's not that much. So I just ran the gamut and bought everything that Siki had at the time, had it shipped over. This is what I'm talking about. Original budget, double it.
Okay, so speaking of budget, that's obviously something that's on the top of everybody's mind when you're talking about LS swaps, sourcing the motor, doing all the work, all the fabrication.
At the time, I was looking for that specific transmission and engine setup. It was somewhere around $600 to $7,500. The thought was we can rebuild the VQ, we can boost it. At the time,
yeah. So why not go down that route?
And we were this close, right? The reliability of the boosted VQ always got me. You would see guys push out the numbers that you wanted, somewhere between 400 to 600 horsepower. That's what I want. That's what I need. But it was short-lived. Always short-lived. And then the parts that people were getting, I started looking at parts for an LS, parts for a VQ. The LS, man, the appeal of if it breaks in the parking lot, you can go to an advanced
anywhere
or wherever, and get whatever part you need. Your dad could fix that car. There was somebody in your neighborhood that knew, they
Something
had a pickup
about
truck, a Tahoe, Suburban, something. That motor was not foreign to them. Well, I guess it's not foreign at all. But, it was one of those things where they could look at it and go, yeah, here's your problem.
Yeah.
Because we even looked at the 2JZ. The 2JZ was way up there, right? But again, I was not looking to take on everything. I did not want to fab motor mounts, fab transmission mounts.
Yeah.
I was looking for something that had a small circle of people that were interested in doing it, that we could all kind of share ideas and thoughts and bounce things off of. I didn't want to go the lone wolf route and be 10 years down the road still trying to build it.
What do you actually use this car for now? It's been years, right? And it's sat for a while.
Oh, yeah.
But just talk me through kind of like, you have it pulled out now. What's the plan? What do you do with this?
When I first did it in 2014, it was actually I had every intention of keeping it as a daily. That was my work truck. So if you open the hatch, you'll see the spare tire is missing. There's a floorboard that's completely caved in. So I had all of my dent tools in the back, my lights, my hail lights.
With the LS swap done.
With the LS swap.
Okay.
So I was running all over town doing dents at various dealerships and for customers.
In an LS swap G35.
In the LS. And I'm not a marketing guy by any means, but holy cow, that was the ultimate icebreaker, was pulling up. The idea of calling or sending a text message and saying, like, I'm out front, like, we know, we know, we hear you. But it never crossed my mind that it was going to be a toy. I went into it thinking, this is my new car. Like, this is my daily driver. Find me another car that you can buy in that price range that gives you a manual transmission, rear wheel drive. I mean, it's a pretty healthy 270 horsepower. I know that seems silly, but you turn the traction control off and it immediately breaks free.
Yeah.
Back seat, you've got leather, you've got cruise control. All of these things, when this car came out, it was kind of it was a luxury car. It was never meant to be like a boy racer car.
Mine was a gift to myself after college graduation.
And that's it.
I bought mine in 07 and it was in 04.
Okay.
And man, I felt like a big boy.
So, you know, I bought mine, like I said, the beginning of 08. I thought I stole it. And I bought 19.5.
Dang, yeah.
You know, at the time, I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
You know, now it's not uncommon to go on Marketplace and find one for $2 or $3 grand right now.
With 17 different bumper colors, but
but it runs. You know, if you're just looking for a fun project, you're kind of locked out now. You know, Miatas, all these fun cars that we used to be able to get, and just cheap fun. People want a premium for it.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the engine, we talked about the transmission, we know what's in it,
But
what other mods does this car have?
So when we had that done, at the time I already had the KW V3s. I was already kind of out there trying to do track days and things like that with the original VQ motor. And so it has like the GT, what was it, the GT spec, you remember all that stuff?
Yeah, the GT, the sways?
Yeah, the sways
and
the stiffening, the chassis stiffening bars, all that stuff on there. KW V3 setup. So once the engine was swapped, we went ahead and took it down, and I had the guys do corner balance on everything. We weighed the tank of gas, weighed me, and had everything kind of set up
that's awesome.
for track stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. And originally it was much lower. I had them do all of that, and then I got it in, and I didn't like the look of it, right? They're like, this is a proper driving spec. And I was like, I don't like it. So I took it home after spending that money and dropped it. And just
it was too high?
Yeah, it was too high. Yeah.
They were just trying to be practical.
They were making it a practical,
you wanted to take it to a takeover.
Track weapon.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome, but I don't like the way it looks.
Let's talk about the wheels, because I saw them and the name just came flashing back to me.
So yeah, that was a lot of, I guess you could say, hate back then, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I mean,
because there were reps, right? This is when reps were like,
they're reps.
There was like the Chinese reps, and then there was the branded Chinese reps.
But reps nonetheless, right? And I mean, back then, gosh, that was like, if you wanted to just completely shut somebody down, it was just mentioning reps. Yeah, and I'll say it too. We can put it in stars right here. Barstow, you know, like when that came out, oh my gosh, you had two parties. You had guys that were just celebrating, right? I get BBS LM looking wheels for like $800, and then you had guys that were angry as could be because they spent $5,000
on their works and stuff.
On works, and I mean, the Volk is still, I mean, that's like the Titan in the room, right? The TE37 will forever have my heart, but the price, you know, and let's be honest, like, nobody out here is looking to shave a couple tenths off of their lap time, you know, like spend the money, you know, they look great and it's cool to pull up with, but man, that's a lot.
And I used to have Rotas. I bought many Rotas.
Rota Slipstreams forever. Yeah.
I had Rotas. I had the MB Battles, which Jake had on his.
Who didn't have those as a beat up wheel though?
Yeah, and I used them when we autocrossed. They were 18s and they were light.
Wheel. How many of them did you break?
I didn't break any.
Thank you.
Yep.
How many did Jake break?
0.
Thank you.
And he tracked all the time.
I'm sure there's other people that have broken them, but
Let's talk a little bit about those side markers though.
Those side markers. The fact that you even noticed makes me happy. So yes, it's got the Nismo front end, which was to me the end all be all. I had to have that front end. Back then, you know, everybody was doing the clear side markers. Japan, they had that little bump. I don't know why the indicator needed that little bump, but I had to have it. So that front lip is actually off of a Subaru WRX. You lop the edges off and just, here we come, just drilling right into it. And I don't know, it works.
So is it daily level now? What are some of the things that are missing? What's the issues? Like, what do you wish it had that it doesn't right now?
At the time, the AC compressor wouldn't fit. It is so tight in there with positioning and everything that the AC compressor wouldn't fit. So it was like horsepower or AC. Well, that's an easy choice, right? So we went ahead and we had to cut the AC lines too, because the AC lines, the hard lines, they didn't fit with the engine. So I was like, we'll get those made later. So one of those things, so there is no AC. Cooling, that's another issue, right? So
as you will see later.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure we've captured some of it. But where the radiator is, where the intake is, I've tried, I don't know how many different setups to try and dial it in. So I've done pusher setups, I've done puller setups, I've tried a combination even just switches just so that I could have it running whenever I needed it running. But It's like the second you think that you have something figured out on a car that's swapped,
Yeah.
something else rears its
Gremlin
head.
pops up.
And that's it, right? What it comes down to is time and money.
Yeah.
We could have the AC going probably for about another $800.
Yeah.
Just all of the electronics still work.
Yeah.
Everything works. Speedometer works, fuel gauge works, temps, all of the sensors, everything still works except for the tach.
Yep.
So, you know, you could mount one of those big monster tachs on the dash to where
Yeah.
it's kind of big and ugly with a shift light. But that was completely against what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
I wanted it to just look like every other G35.
Yeah.
When it was first completed, we had a lot of cars and coffee kind of moments where I would take it to different shows around different crowds of people, because a car like this, in a weird way, you almost bridge gaps. You know, having the import scene, but then having the American muscle.
Lastly, but what's next? What's next on this car? Like, what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
Or are you on the fence of selling it? Like,
And that's it, right? So projects are kind of a thing. It's almost a sickness. Like you complete it, you enjoy it, and like we were just talking about, it was selling the project. I'm to the point now where it's like, do we go for something completely different, or do we, like, you know, the original plan was to go a little wilder with it. I have run the gamut of, we can make this as wild as we want and then keep it as calm as we want.
Yeah.
And I've tried to kind of settle somewhere in the middle to where it's got just enough flavor that, you know, it's a little different.
yeah, I mean, they look really good. And I had the ones with the 18-inch package and the Brembos and the front lip and everything, the iron board.
Yeah.
Mine was an 04. And to this day, I think properly done, these cars look clean. Every time I see yours, it just reminds me of like, holy crap, considering this car's 21 years old.
Yeah.
This car's old enough to drink. And it still looks really good.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you sharing this with the world, because I think it's, you know, I've known you for a long time too, but until yesterday, I'd never driven this thing.
It's kind of wild, isn't
Yeah.
it? I didn't build it for anybody else or any you know,
Yeah.
any sort of appreciation other than just, you know, it was a project I wanted to do. It was something I wanted to see through, and we did it.
That kind of wraps up everything that I wanted to know about this car. Appreciate your insight.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us borrow this awesome facility. And thanks for the donuts. And
Did you have them?
I'm glad your friends that were in your car this whole time also got some. So that's nice.
Were they in there?
Yeah, they were in there. Yeah. Daniel, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's go drive this thing.
Look, I'm be your instructor today. I want you to keep it on the pavement.
Dude, it's wild. Like, this is so familiar because I had my Infiniti for like 5 years.
Yeah.
All of this is super familiar, but then the sound.
Yeah, it doesn't compute. You will find under load, you can't slam it into second gear. You'll see what I'm talking about. You're like, where's the gear? It just takes a second. It's like pressure's building in the case. It's something I need to look at, but
There.
short shifter's funky, right?
I'll get used to it.
The shifter's here, but the transmission is down here. So there's a connecting rod. So as you shift, the bushings, I think the bushings have gone out over the last 10 years.
Where's third? There it is.
Yeah, we did this swap in 2014.
And the exhaust is what? Whoa.
It's a MagnaFlow.
Come on. There it is.
So let off and listen, don't shift gears. It's like rolling thunder, just blah, blah,
I don't even care how fast it is. The sounds of it
Yeah.
are so good.
The sounds, the feels, the smells, it's everything that these kids in Teslas are never gonna get. takes a
just
minute.
off center.
Yeah, you'll get used to it. Like I said, I think the bushings have gone.
It clearly sounds like a V8. Like
yeah,
there's no doubt
there's
to
no
anybody with a
disguising
trained
it.
ear that this is not a V8.
No.
That's not like an American V8.
That's what makes it fun, though, right?
Yeah. Ah! Where is this? Sorry, dude.
Why?
I was trying not to.
It's an angry American car.
Those sounds. Ah! Where's third? There it is. Fourth. Holy shoot. It's good.
You're gonna spin out. Like, there's no AC, so it's not comfortable. Wherever you go, you end up smelling like exhaust. Like, it serves no purpose other than to just make you smile. That's it.
Clean ass Scion though, or BRZ, or 86. That's sick. Is that real? I was wondering if it was like off slightly.
No, it's 100% accurate. What's not accurate is
good.
the tack. It doesn't work.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, dude. It's so good. It feels like it's naturally made for this car. Okay.
It's been a dumb amount on those.
I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to it.
So, do you remember how it handled? You gotta love that, right? You remember how it handled with 270 if you put the VDC control off, you flip the bitch switch and you like let it hang out a little bit? It still handles like the G35.
That's so stupid. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I had the LS1 in my vet, and
Okay.
it wasn't as this definitely feels quicker.
Yeah.
But the personality of this engine is so good.
You know, a 5.7 aluminum, 6.0 iron block, but I wanted to do dumb things. There you go.
Yeah, I'm getting it. I'm getting the hang of third now.
Just puts a smile on your face, man.
Woo, big boy.
Those Brimbos still
Big
got
boy.
it. Funny. G8.
Oh yeah.
Same motor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We salute you.
Yeah. Yeah.
First thing people are gonna say, you don't even take it on corners, but how does it handle?
Yeah.
And I'm like, does it friggin' matter?
Yeah, right? Like I said, I'll be the first to admit, this is not, you're not going to time attack in this. Like, there's no possible way.
I mean, you could. You're not setting any records.
Yeah.
Where am I? Okay, I had it.
Between first and second is Narnia, so it's like...
I got used to it on the highway, but it's harder.
Well, and under load too, right? Like, I'm not entirely convinced that it's bolted in there 100%, you know?
V3s definitely help.
Here,
But
switch with me real quick. What do you call it?
right. Just don't ruin this car. Yeah, I wouldn't drive this car like this.
No. I thought I was like, let me show you. To the next one. That was a little steep on the incline there.
You don't want to mess up the lip.
Yeah, no.
You gotta get it from another Subaru.
Those pops and all the noises and everything. Yeah.
Woo. Oh my god.
It's fun.
Pretty confidence inspiring is what it is. Wow.
Oh shit.